Yo, what's going on, guys? And the Boston Celtics. My dad's a huge Celtics fan. My dad went to school out in Waltham in the '80s, and he grew up telling me. It's just funny as how my dad tells me everything is compared to like McHale and Dennis Johnson and Robert Parrish. But I live out here in Miami right now. I'm not a Heat fan. I'm a Timberwolves, Wizards, Magic fan because I'm a masochist. But this game, guys, watching it, I was on the phone with my dad, and we all knew that the Heat strategy is to bomb threes at this point that's always been their strategy in the playoffs, but especially without Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier, they need to bomb those threes. And 104 to 84, I feel like if you watch this games at certain points, it might have not looked that big of a blowout, but it was. Going into halftime, it was a 63-point lead. It's not lead, but 63 points for Boston to the 39 points that the Heat had. And I just think the Heat they didn't come out hitting their shots. And they only attempted 28 threes in comparison. Boston put up 37. And the Heat, they put up 77 shots only. And I mean, Boston only put up 82. And it's not like they shot badly. I think it was more so they just couldn't they couldn't win the rebound battle. The ball wasn't swinging as well as it normally did. They had a handful of turnovers. They were fouling. It just wasn't a Heat Eric Spoelstra coached game. And the Celtics just went the full length, just playing the game the way that Joe Mazzulla wanted them. Jayson Tatum drops 22. Kristaps Porzingis was hitting threes, had 18 points, had a few blocks and 5 rebounds. He had 16 from Derek White, 22 from Jaylen Brown. And then, he had Al Horford turning the clock back at times, having 9.6 rebounds, 7 points for Payne Pritchard. Sam Hauser came off the bench, did his thing. And Nikola Jovic had 15, Bam Adebayo had 20, 15 from Tyler Hero. Jaime Jaquez had 12. And off the bench, Haywood Highsmith, dude, sometimes I felt like he had tunnel vision, but he moved the ball well around. 5 assists with 8 points, 7 points from Patty Mills. And for me, again, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum both having 22 points, playing a real good game. They went up 2-1 now. And I think the Celtics are 9-2 in their last 11 games, 6-1 in their last 7 playoff games. Game 4 is in Miami. I mean, Miami was able to steal one game from Boston. So one might argue that, hey, this is huge. So, I mean, this was game 3. So I am curious what is going to be the end results, or what is that going to look like. I definitely think it's wild to watch how this is played out, especially if you're a Heat fan, because the gentleman by the name of Mr. Jimmy Butler is going to come back. It's a whole thing. With the next game being in Miami really could just come out and do their thing. I think that's the craziest part to me, is they could just come out and flip the clock. But I think the Boston Celtics, they never trailed in game 1, and it was 114-94 win. And then they never trailed in game 3 on its way to beating Miami for the 5th time in 6 meetings this season. And the Celtics started slow, but Miami started slower. Boston was leading 21-12 after the first quarter and set the tone for how the game was just going to be a tough one. And the Celtics outscored Miami 20-8, and then to close out the break, and it was like 63-39, and Boston dominated in a way that was insane. 19-2 in points off turnovers, and 26-12 scoring edge in the paint, 27-15 rebounds, 13-6 assists in the first half. And then the lead reached 29 in the second half, and Miami never got close to 18 after the half. So I just think their morale, they checked out by the second half. So for me, I think it's going to be an interesting rest of the way. And that's where I want to hear your guys' opinions down below in the comment section. What is your expectations with this series and why? I definitely am excited if the Heat can win the next game, I think that flips everything upside down. And again, this is always going to be an interesting series because it is Boston versus Miami.